Right, well, I have my much needed coffee in my free McDonald's cup, which actually says on there I don't drink coffee, but if we turn it around it says I don't drink coffee when I'm asleep, which I assume is correct, although I don't actually know. It's possible that I may have occasionally sleepwalked my way to the kitchen and made myself a coffee, completely unconscious and unaware. But generally speaking, I think it's safe to say I don't drink coffee when I'm sleeping, but generally at all other times I absolutely love coffee. And I can tell that particular coffee is already, it's alerted me to the task. Right, let's see where we're going with this. Straight away it's become apparent to me that the items that are in bag one all bear resemblance to the instructions. So it looks like there is 27 stages of assembly for the first section, and then we're on to bag 2 for the next section. So the first section looks like it's the cross support member for the TIE fighter, which the 2 wings attach to and which the pilot's cabin rests on. So this is great. Okay, so we've got the pilot himself, and I think I've realised from these excellent instructions that are provided, what I really like about this is hieroglyphics of the 21st century. It's brilliant. There's no real language needed. There's no written form of instructions required. The pictures are so simple that it should be obvious. Obviously, if you were age 9 to 14, it should be obvious what the steps are. Obviously, because I'm older, I may not get it first time round, but I think already I've guessed what's in this box. In this protective box, I'm guessing is the cloak or cape of the pilot. So I could rip the box apart, but I'm just going to carefully open it with my craft knife, because I'm guessing that in here is the pilot's cape. Yeah, and sure enough, actually, there are two capes in here, 2 cloaks. Fantastic. And they actually are made from some kind of fabric, which is it's got a woven texture to it. So that's fantastic. I've got the 2 cloaks. So I take my first character. Now, as to which one is the pilot, I'm guessing I'm going to guess that it's the plainer of the 2. No, one is definitely wearing a large coat, a long trench coat, and that has to be Tobias. So I think I've identified Tobias. Let's see if I can match up a pair of legs to go along with him. Yeah, that's Tobias, all right. And this guy must be the pilot. Yeah, he's got pilot's net webbing on his back as well. So we need to put a cape onto him, a head. Now, are the heads the same? Moustache, that's Beckett. Bit of an angry face, pilot possibly here. Ah, I see. So actually there are 2 emotions that can be expressed by this head. So we can either have a happy or a bit of an angry looking. So we'll give him a happy look to start with. There's his helmet on, and we've got his weapon. Okay, so character 1 is up and running. To get the cloak onto Beckett, got his helmet and a couple of pistols. And doesn't he look the business? Fantastic. Okay, 2 characters ready to go. So now we're on to the actual frame of our TIE Fighter. So I'm looking for a medium-sized grey piece that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes along the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that's one of those there. And we're attaching this red section. You probably won't be able to see these instructions if I hold them up, but they're really simple to follow. I really do think actually that 9 may be a bit old. I think I know, I've met a few children much younger than 9 that could so far easily follow these instructions. Okay, so we're having to look now for what I would say is this is a tie piece really that just binds 2 bricks together. So we're positioning that at each end of the length of this grey bar. We need a small flat 2-piece flat section to hold the red brick onto the grey beam. So where is that piece? Okay, perhaps it's a beigey, yeah, it's a beigey brown colour, there it is. Okay, so that's nicely in position. Now we have a long black beam that clips into the side, and we're on to the second page. So we're finding an identical grey cross member, and we're doing exactly the same thing in reverse. So it looks like we've done the right hand section, now we're on to the left hand equivalent. Need those 2 black tie pieces to hold the beam onto the black cross member. Connect that in. Okay, now I'm looking for a darker grey crossbeam, found it. 2 grey bricks with holes through the centre, 2-piece grey bricks, got them, and 2 blue pins, long ones. Okay, so I have them. And how does that all go together? Well, the blue pins go into the grey bar at each end. The grey spacers follow next down to the blue pins, and then the remainder of the blue pins that are protruding connect on to our black crossbeam. Great, and then we have one more blue pin which goes in the centre of that dark grey. And we're on to the next page. Right, so I'm looking now for some four head length brackets. There we go. Four sort of pinheads on the one side of the bracket and 2 on the other. So there should be 4 of these. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And they are simply connecting to the ends of each of these long beams, almost bracing it together really. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's good, I can see my cross beam is coming together, the form is taking shape. Now I'm looking for some angle brackets that are only 2 pinheads wide. Should be 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I also need 2 translucent red 2-section pieces. 1, 2. Okay, so these 2 pieces just extend on to the other section. And the 2-piece gap left in the middle is filled by the red, translucent red spacer, and repeated on the opposing side of the crossbeam. And now it looks like I've got some 3x3 flat panels. There's 1. Should be 2 of those. There's the second one. And that basically looks like it just acts as a brace on the front of the beam at the top to bind the other items underneath. And 2 more. Now I flip the beam over, and there should be 2 more red translucent pieces that attach to the shorter crossbeam sections, like so. This is going well. On to the next page. Right, the next page I need a long flat single piece that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pins, so that's that one, and a black version of it that's twice as wide, which would be that section. So they go on the bottom again, really to act as a further bind to hold it together. And then we have 12 black right angle sections. Is there 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there's 2 more spare here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Right, so where do they go? They go all the way along the bottom. In a row. Basically covering the entire of the bottom section of this beam. Yeah, I really do feel up to this point, my question is, why would you need to be age 9? You know, this is 7-year-olds, possibly 6-year-old could do this, I think. and you don't even need to read, which is fantastic. That's what I love about this Lego kit. You can just learn by the pictures. Okay, right, it's getting far more interesting now. Looks like we're adding some lasers or lights to the front of the beam. We've got two small upright sections in grey, 1, 2, and two red translucent round pieces. There's two. So they actually go right at each end at the front corners. And the red translucent section is protruding from the front, like perhaps either a laser cannon or a light. I'm not sure yet what they're supposed to be, but that's looking good. Then we've got a couple of black sections that have got connecting brackets on. Looks like that would allow some movement on there. So there's two of those we need, and two 3-studded grey sections which are there. So the grey sections hold the last sections in position, like so, and the black sections go at the rear, and they have little sort of a little claw on, which something that can clip into would allow it to some movement. I'm intrigued to see what they're holding in place. Next section. Right, so now we have some what I'd call outer panel profiling pieces. They've got no studs on the top, there's a plain, smooth, flat section, and looks like two corner pieces which are of a similar flat, smooth, there we go, there's the two corner pieces. So they go on the front here, and they've got nice smooth rounded cornering, and then there is a dark grey single piece beam that's mounted immediately behind. A 2x4 flat piece, there's two of those, and two more translucent red sections. They go at the side and just on the inside. And also along the outer tip of this cross section as well. So there's two more 4x2s, two more red pieces that go along the length, and the red translucent piece goes right at the end. And I have to say already, what is built up from very small, fragile, flexible pieces, there's so much of it binding together that it actually feels really solid and sturdy. It's quite incredible. Okay, next section, and a quick swig of coffee. Right, okay, this is getting a little bit more detailed now. Just in this one section alone, I'm required to pre-assemble some pieces together, and then those assembled sections are bolted on. So I'm looking for a 6x2 dark grey section. Yeah, that's this section. There should be four of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 pointed light grey corner pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 square grey with a raised bracket that is definitely a raised bracket, so I'm looking for 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. I also need some claw grip sections, of which there are 8, and they're in pairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That then has a 2x1 piece on top, made from light grey. Which I don't appear to have. Ah, wait a minute. It's got it should have another bracket. There we go. So they've got the bracket sections that clearly fit together to form a hinged section. Right, okay. So there's 4 of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's some flat profile pieces that are angled and smooth. There's 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the 4 sets, looks like they're pre-assembled, and then those 4 assembled sections are placed onto the outer tips. So let's assemble one of these. So the pointed section is pointing inwards from the one end. Then on the tip goes the 2 bracket pieces, followed by the 2x2 protruding hinge, followed by the 2x1 section that clips onto that hinge and then clips down and locks in place, and the smooth profile piece is placed on top of that. So I need to do that 4 times. So let's quickly duplicate that 4 times. End pieces. And this is where I can see it's getting a little bit more technical. Perhaps a 6 or 7-year-old may start to struggle at this point if they don't understand the concept of pre-assembling sections that go together. Okay, let's get those hinges plugged in and locked down with the profile section. So now I have 2 pre-assembled sections. 3rd hinge into place with profile section, and 4th and final hinge in place, locked down, and profile section. And then those are simply clipped to the end side of this crossbeam that I'm assembling. So all 4 of these onto each end of the crossbeam. Fantastic, and those clips are protruding, so I can almost tantalizingly see where the wings are going to clip together. And of course, it almost makes me think that if that clips together, it can unclip. So we can create a battle scene with a wing that falls off or something. Love it. Okay, next section, quick swig of coffee. Although the coffee swig, I ad-libbed, that's not actually in the instructions. But it is helping me. Right, so we need a couple of black 2x1 brackets. There they are. And of course, as I'm using all the blocks up, it's much easier now to see what's remaining. So this is much easier now that I've nearly finished this section. And a red piece 1x1. There it is. Now those two black pieces protrude up, the angle brackets protrude up, facing outwards from the front, like so. And the red piece goes in between them, like so. Then I need two grey 4x1 pieces which go at the rear of those black brackets. And I'm on to the next page. I'm getting very close now. I think this is the penultimate page for this section. The third What's interesting, I've just observed, is the picture that I'm looking at on section 22. Right, there's three more 2x1s that need to go on. Okay, there they are. And they need to go on top of, yet again, on top of the section I've just assembled. 1, 2, 3, forming a top U section to bind those brackets together. Two small profiling pieces that are smooth and sloped. They go on the outside of that section. A couple of 2x1s and 4 2x1s with a single stud in place. 1, 2, 3, 4. So where do these go? Right, okay, so they actually go on each side next to the piece I've just profiled. So the 2x1s go either side there, followed by the flat 2-piece with a single upright stud. I'm sure Lego professionals can name every single individual block rather than make up names like I'm doing. This is the last page of section 2. Once I've done this, I think I'm going to just have a little break and give myself a pat on the back for getting up to section 1, and then I'll do another video as I go on to the next section. So we've got two sloping profile pieces which have got vents. They look like vents, and they go right, they go up the side of the two pieces I've just assembled. Followed by two more 2x2 profile pieces which go on the end. And a couple of more what looks like vents that just complete the profiling of the top half of that cross section. The only thing that disturbs me is I am left with 3 unaccounted for pieces. Now I'm guessing those are either spares or they will be used later on, but to me that looks like spares. And there we are. So I've completed bag 1. I'm going to take a short break and then I'm going to move on to section 2.